You are watching Midnight Movie Talk live on this Thursday from Los Angeles. Erick Weber in the host chair as we discuss a multitude of topics. The first topic we're going to talk about tonight is DC League of Super Pets. Now, let's make this perfectly clear. We're not going to talk about this long. Okay, there doesn't need to be some in-depth discussion about the League of Super Pets. As you guys know, I didn't want to see the film. I said I'm not going to see DC League of Super Pets. Well, enter AMC A List, which gives you 3 films per week to see. I have all 3 available to me, so I'll go check it out. I go down, I watch the 5 o'clock. Actually, ended up stretching into about 7 o'clock show. This is a film that is strictly for young kids. As I called it in the reaction tweet, it is indoctrination to the DCEU for toddlers. I mean, that is what this is. When you watch it, it is a constant reminder for the young minds that are being shaped by this film that their parents dragged them to, that you are watching the DC universe. And you'll be reminded multiple times about the numerous superheroes that DC has to offer for your small child. It's almost like propaganda. Now, that said, it's not terrible, okay? I got through it. There's some laughs, primarily with the turtle, whatever the hell the turtle's name was. That character is funny. Okay, there's some good lines, but overall, it's not like it's laugh along throughout like the Lego Movie. Someone said it's like the Lego Movie. I go, wait. The Lego Movie is borderline. I mean, in my estimation, a classic animated film. I mean, that is Lord and Miller unleashing everything in their arsenal and just hitting every single note in that film. That DC League of Super Pets is not the Lego Movie. Let's get that perfectly clear. But there are worse films you could take your 8 and under crowd to than DC League of Super Pets. If you are over the age of 10, you really have no business in this movie. I mean, I didn't either, okay? I went for you guys because I said I wasn't. I put myself through it, and it's not horrendous, but do not waste your time on DC League of Super Pets. I'll get to comments in a moment, but come on, guys. Like, we really want to talk about it beyond it being propaganda for the DCEU for toddlers. That is the essential one-liner about DC League of Super Pets. Okay, this was a topic that I brought in today to Twitter, and I think it's a really interesting one. I just threw it out there because, a few weeks ago, someone at Sony, one of the heads of Sony, said, "Hey, Venom 2 saved theatrical. Why doesn't it get enough love for that?" And I was like, nah, not really. Let's talk about the films that saved theatrical. Okay, when we do that, we've got to go back to 2021 when we were in that world that was like, yeah, is it safe to go to a movie theater? If you go to a movie theater, are you going to come out alive on the other side? So here's what the tweet I sent today. These are the films I picked, okay? And I'll explain my reasoning for it. Films that save theatrical. Now, this is the discussion we're going to have. We'll get into the comments here in just a second. Number 1 for me, No Way Home. Why? Because it made almost $2 billion worldwide in the middle of the Omicron shitstorm, right? That we were being told again through fear, speaking of propaganda, that you shouldn't go and leave your house. People said, no way, I'm staying home. I'm going, it's so bad, I apologize. Going to see No Way Home. $1.8 plus billion worldwide, okay? Easy number 1. Number 2, Godzilla vs. Kong. If you remember, that was the first big film back into theaters when we had New York and LA opening up, at least around, LA and around New York. Okay, and then that film did really well, and it had that simultaneous day and date. So what it told theater owners and the studios is that if you give audiences a reason to come out to see a big, large, epic scale film, they will do so. They felt comfortable enough to go see this. So Godzilla versus Kong, very easily number 2 for me. Now I have Black Widow right there. And here's why. Black Widow was a day date with Disney Plus, as you know. I know it was more expensive, but you could watch it at home at whatever it was, $30, which is certainly more than just being straight up on Disney Plus, where it's part of the subscription. But that's a film that opened in the 80s, and it really helped cement where we were that summertime. People were still like, is it safe to go to theaters? Remember, we were doing that literally for over a year and a half. Theaters, if you go, you could never make it out on the other side. And we're finally over that. Okay. Another film that was essential in saving theatrical is Free Guy. Free Guy came out in September, right after we had, well, Quiet Place 2's in there as well. You can certainly put that up in the comments. We can discuss that. But Free Guy came in September when kids are going back to school. Theaters are like, oh God, we have nothing. We're in trouble. And that was a Fox film, remember, that Disney, when they bought, was like, we don't know what to do with Free Guy. Let's give it a shot, theatrical only, not on Disney Plus, only theatrical to open. And it opens in the 20s, like mid 20s. And then each successive weekend, it was only dropping like 25, 30%. So the holds were there. So that's why it's in the mix here at number 4, is that you're talking about a film that had people coming to the theater, which they needed. The theaters had to have butts in the seats. You got to sell stuff. You got to keep the lights on and pay the bills. And that was a film that got them through to things like Shang-Chi after that. Shang-Chi was very soon, right in that same time. And we know that outperformed. And all these films helped to reestablish the fact that theatrical is never going away. Remember all the people on Twitter? Oh, they're great, those people. Oh, nobody's ever going to a movie again. The worst takes ever. And you know the shitty part of that for these people who root against stuff, at that point you're rooting against theatrical. You're playing on fear. And I tell you guys, watch this show, you watch MMT, you know me, you see how I live my life. I do not and will never bow to fear. I didn't for the past 2.5 years. I've been doing things exactly the same way. And I'm here tonight with you because I didn't bow to fear. But there were people who did, who said, don't leave your house. Then how about this? You stay in your house. We won't miss you. Isn't that the reality? You're not that important. And if you want to stay home, that's your thing. Before we get to the comments, mask mandate today in LA was not issued. And I want to make a statement about that. And I know this is going to be, some of you are going to get, listen, here's my statement. It always has been about masks. It's an individual choice. I will always fall on an individual's decision to make the precautions and take the precautions they need to take versus being told / mandated to do something. Okay? If you don't feel safe, take the precautions. Don't bring your phobias into my world. I don't want that. I'm not asking for that, and it's not your job to spread that. If you don't feel safe, stay home. Okay? That's how I'll always fall on this whole issue. And I'm not conservative. I'm not liberal. I'm literally as center as you can get, and that's what makes me, I think, pretty good at being a film critic. Okay, let's get into the films that save theatrical. What ones do you guys think were big in saving theatrical? Now, I put up my group right here. You got No Way Home, Godzilla vs. Kong, Black Widow, Free Guy, and Shang-Chi. Okay, you can put other ones in there. A Quiet Place 2, F9. There's certainly other films in there. Those are key. I think these 5 films are key. And everyone kept asking, before we get into the comments, here we go. I'm going to do it in one sec. A lot of comments were like, why is Maverick not on your list, Eric? Why is Maverick not there? You've got No Way Home. You got all these other films. You don't have Maverick because Maverick came in 2022, after the Batman, after Doctor Strange 2, and then Maverick. So it already had 2 huge films, the Batman at 700 and almost 70-ish million worldwide, and we know Strange is right up against that 1 billion mark. So when you look at those, you already broke the barrier. If anything, I will say this, Maverick, there's no question that Maverick brought back older audience members, people that were afraid to come back to theaters. We just went through the whole thing about people that were living in fear. Maverick helped break through for a lot of people, and now that they had that experience and they're still alive here, right? They go to the movie and they wake up the next morning and go, hey, I'm still breathing. I can go to another movie. Yes, you could. You could have done it the whole time, probably. They broke through that, and now you're seeing that trickle effect with Elvis, which is an older skewing film. And as we get into fall, assuming everything stays the way it is, and that's a big assumption, right? That we will have the older audience in for these award films, that's who they play for. We're going to talk about Toronto here in a few minutes, which is a stacked lineup. I mean, we got to start talking about awards films at some point. You guys know I run Awards Ace. We got to do that. But let's talk about the films that saved theatrical. Let's get started. Kevin Diaz, Midnight Movie Talk, baby. Let's go. Let's do it. Here we go. Good to see you, Moraine. Yes, it is Everton tonight. That is my kit tonight from the Kazoo kit from last year. I think they're sponsored by Steak this year. I like Kazoo better. It looks better. All right, let's get into it. Okay, here are the films. DC League of Super Pets. We'll get to it in a minute. I'm going to go to what films saved theatrical. Simone, your top 5 are smart choices of films that save theaters, but Dune is a great example too, because it was also day and date on HBO Max. People chose to go to theaters. Now, 100% Simone, here's why Dune is not listed right there that you see the top 5. Because it was after those. Okay, all of those films, except for No Way Home, predated Dune. They beat Dune to the multiplex. Okay, Godzilla versus Kong, Black Widow, Free Guy, Shang-Chi, all of those were ahead of Dune. But Dune's another one. There's lots of films. Okay, we needed to have a hit every couple of weeks before we got going. Remember, in early January, we had like nothing. We had Moonfall come out, it tanked. We had the 355. Oh, talk about forgettable. I was that film's cheerleader, and even that was a borderline snooze fest. And then you have, finally, we got to things like Scream, open things up. Jackass Forever. These are the films that started opening up. Lost City. But Dune's definitely one of those. No question about it. Let's see. What else do we have here? We'll get back to the comments. Listen, again, if you're not commenting about the films that save theatrical, we will jump back to DC League of Super Pets and those other ones in a minute. It's just like, it's DC League of Super Pets. Are we really going to spend like an hour talking about that film? I've got to rename this entire MMT because it's like we talk about it for literally like 90 seconds, which is all it deserves. Domestic box office currently a little bit above 1 billion. Now that the big blockbusters have come and gone, do you see domestic box office reaching 2 billion for Q3? Alex, thanks for joining again tonight. Here's the reality. When you look ahead at the schedule, we have Bullet Train next week, which, by the way, I'll see Monday. We will do an MMT on Monday for Bullet Train. And then it comes out on that Thursday. So that's the last big film. Once you get to that, you're really into a bunch of really small films. I'm hearing really good things about Barbarian. Okay, remember that. Barbarian, I'm hearing outstanding things about. That is in September, though. So look, we're already like skipping almost ahead a month till I get to another film that really counts. And even Barbarian's not going to be, some $50 million opening film. But beyond that, it's Black Adam, which is into October. So these next few months are going to be tougher for the theaters. And that's why I suggest you go out and support them. Get A-List, get Regals, whatever. Tell me what the name of the Regal Pass is. The same thing as A-List. The one that gets you in for 3 movies a week, 12 movies a week for $24. It's an unbelievable deal. Support them because they're going to need it, because we're going to be into the stage where there's nothing. It's a wasteland of films pretty much. And they need bodies in there to pay their staff, to obviously sell popcorn, assuming there is not a popcorn shortage, which we're hearing rumors of, and just keep the lights on, right? So we want to see that continue. So support theatrical. Today, someone came after me and said, "Oh, you don't support theatrical, you hate it," because I was saying DC League of Super Pets was empty. I'm like, first of all, you're going to come at me with something that is founded in reality. If there's anybody who is theatrical's number one cheerleader, it's me. I mean, literally, unbiased, you guys know that's right. Okay, 100%. There's nobody who has gone all in on theatrical over the past 2+ years. I just went into my speech about the whole past 2.5 years and living your life without fear. That was me the whole time saying theatrical is going to make it through this. So I just laugh when people try to do that. Okay, so I don't know, Alex. It's going to be a challenge because we are through the big films until we get to Black Adam and then Black Panther, and then we get into the awards films. But typically those aren't huge, right? Most awards films don't land massive openings, but we do need 1 or 2 to hit and then to draw in the older audiences and at least have a run. If we had something like an Everything Everywhere All at Once in the fall, a film that catches fire and ends up being this kind of like sneaky hit, like that was the biggest thing ever in A24's history as far as box office. If we get that in the fall, I don't know. I've got to look at the release schedule and try to pick a film. I think we can try to identify like 3 films, and we'll do that probably on Sunday night. Look at 3 films that we think could outperform. One for sure is Barbarian. Remember that. Barbarian is a potential outperform. Aaliyah, I think Shang-Chi helped a lot. Number one, as saviordom, which is exactly what I titled it, in my eyes. If not for Shang-Chi's performance, No Way Home would have moved, been delayed longer. This is a very good observation by you. We had the studios, remember, who were moving things all around, and they were doing it because they were scared. They were afraid to plant the flag and say, we're just going to put this movie out, and whatever happens, happens. And I give Disney credit with Free Guy for doing that in September because it was starting to ramp up in the fall. And then Shang-Chi came in and Disney put theatrical only on that. I think that was one of the first big, because Black Widow wasn't. So then Shang-Chi was like, and then it hit with $70+ million opening. Eternals. There's certainly many, many films. Okay, these aren't the only 5 films, but the reason they're here is because of their importance. And this is a great point by Aaliyah that it saved the release date, future release date for No Way Home, because if Shang-Chi had bombed, then the other studios, Sony, would say, oh, I don't know, I'm a little frightened here. Let's move No Way Home to spring, and then theaters are dead. I mean, think about this. Theaters they are literally on life support without No Way Home throughout the Christmas season and throughout the first part of the year. That film was doing insane numbers weekend after weekend after weekend because it was literally, you talk about Maverick. Maverick is an all-in film, certainly on the older demographic, but No Way Home at almost $2 billion worldwide in the middle of the fear propaganda of Omicron, that's impressive. Okay, that's why No Way Home is number one. And it's not, and let me say one more thing about No Way Home. In this case, it's not just about No Way Home being number one as far as saving theaters. Let me tell you the importance of No Way Home as a cultural phenomenon. When a film makes $1.8 billion worldwide, all throughout the Omicron, oh my God, we have to lock ourselves in our house again. When something is out there doing the numbers that No Way Home was doing, it destroys the fear narrative. Think about that. How can you sell that everyone's scared, you got to stay home, when No Way Home is making bank after bank every weekend? It shows that you can't push that narrative. And that's the importance. It goes beyond saving theaters. It goes to, I mean, this is going to sound hyperbolic, but saving society in a way, right? I mean, literally, if we live locked in our homes, we're not living. Okay, that's the truth. Okay, I don't care where your politics are. If you live a life hermetically sealed inside of your place, you aren't living a life. Okay. And the longer I'm here on this planet, the more I know that experiences are everything. So when you have the opportunity to do something, do it. Do not ever say, I'm scared to do this or whatever. Face your fear, go do it. If it doesn't work out, at least you tried. Ultimately, I know that sounds so cliche, right? Like, well, at least you tried, but it's true. You'll have such a sense of accomplishment from just attempting it versus living in fear. So I think that's ultimately, if I could just get that through to you, screw all the movie stuff. That's what really matters to me. Theatrical is never going away. Cinema is a ritual, and it is for me too. Superhero movies. I mean, when you look at, that's why I've been so vocal about theatrical surviving in the face of everybody who was pushing it. There's a lot of people who deleted tweets. You guys know who they are, okay? And they know who they are. But if you're going to have a take like that, at least stand by it, and then at least come back in and say I was wrong. I can't believe I said that, because it adds to the fear. It adds to people's anxieties. Why do you want to do that? Okay. You want to be, if anything, encouraging people to go out and live their dreams. You don't want to be telling them to hide inside. You might not make it to tomorrow. None of us are promised tomorrow, right? So go out and live. I mean, I can't say it any other ways. Aaliyah on this. Part of me is a little surprised, not surprised, LA County decided against the mandate. Communities were against it. LA County medical director spoke out against it. Plus, businesses said they would not enforce it. Here's how it fell apart. People were vocal about saying, I think it's an individual decision. Just like me. I've said that. I have no problem saying that. And if someone has a problem with me saying that, then I don't care. Why? Because I think ultimately it's your decision. It's up to the individual to take the precautions. Again, I will always side with your right to do whatever it is, as long as it's not breaking the law. And wearing a mask is not breaking the law. Not wearing a mask is not breaking the law. It's not a law. Okay. So that's not it. But here's how it broke. People, Listen, I'm one of them who said, make it individual choice. And then cities like Beverly Hills, Pasadena, Long Beach, Manhattan Beach. If you're not here from LA, trust me, these are major communities here in Los Angeles. I mean, you've certainly heard of Beverly Hills and Pasadena. These cities said, we're not going to enforce the mask mandate. And the funny thing is, if you think about this, the mask mandate was never enforced, really. I mean, a few places, but in general, like I live here in Burbank. In Burbank, it was never enforced. If you didn't have your mask on, like if I went to Target and had my mask on, they weren't calling the cops. You know how it was enforced? You guys know, right? How was it enforced? Say it. By people getting out their phone, taking a picture, a video. Look at that person without a mask. They're a terrible human being. I hate that person. You're going to kill people. And the funny thing is, those people who shot those videos thought they were the good guys. Imagine being that demented to shoot video of somebody and try to shame them for not wearing a mask. Okay, now I'm going way political now, but I'm just telling you guys, don't be that person. Okay, do not be that person. But it all fell apart because these communities said, we don't want to enforce this thing. Again, I'm not against masks. I'm against being told we have to. Make it your decision. It's that simple. That there's no more to discuss. We'll get to it in a minute. I know, Jeff, you want to know about Fire and Love. I will talk about that. Give me a moment, okay? I will get to it though. We'll do that in a minute. Let's just finish up here with the movies that saved. Theatrical not going anywhere, 100%. No Way Home and Free Guy are definitely standouts. Good. And listen, there's other ones for sure, okay? And I think Minions, big for animation, and Sing 2, and Encanto. All these films, there's so many, okay? I just had to pick 5. And it turned out to be a pretty big talking point. So I love it. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump into topic number 2 tonight. And then, actually, it's number 3. Because we already did DC League of Super Pets. Is it propaganda? The films that save theatrical, we just did that. And now we're going to do another one of my favorites here tonight. We've got 2 more. And then we're going to get into the questions. Hit me with comments on this. Rebecca Hall is one of the most talented actresses working in Hollywood today. And for whatever reason, she doesn't get nearly the attention nor the love that she deserves. Today, I watched a film called Resurrection, okay? It's the new IFC film. It comes out very limitedly tomorrow, some places tonight, but Friday. It comes out in New York, LA, Chicago, all the big cities. If you live in a smaller city, you're going to have to wait a while. But here's why the film is bonkers, especially at the end. It's very much in the same vein of Men, in that it really tries to, and I think it does a much better job of portraying toxic masculinity as being a major issue. And the fact that in this film, it really feels more in line with the overall finish of the film, works so much better than Men. Okay, but here's why. Here's why I'm recommending Resurrection. Because of Rebecca Hall. I mean, if you look at Rebecca Hall, let's go look at her IMDb. Okay, so I go back to Rebecca Hall. Let me zoom in here. The first time I saw Rebecca Hall, probably the first time that you guys saw her, was in The Town. Okay, so The Town was 2010, right? That's the Ben Affleck, shot in Boston, bank robbers, very much like Heat film. Okay, she plays the girlfriend of Ben Affleck. That's the first time I saw her. Then I go down, and you can't forget her from Iron Man 3. Okay, I do not want to talk about Iron Man 3. Don't do it to me. No one. Here's a film, and when I was going through IMDb, I said, this is a film that I hope you all have seen. It is The Gift. I hope you have watched The Gift. The Gift is dark as hell, okay? The Gift is the directorial debut of Joel Edgerton, okay? So here it is, The Gift. It is, you talk about a twisted-ass film, okay? Jason Bateman, Rebecca Hall, and Joel Edgerton, he directs. This film is unreal, and the ending of this film is dark. I mean, like, insanely dark. If you have not watched The Gift, and I'm so glad that she came up today and I was watching Resurrection, because I've always been wanting to bring this film up and I keep forgetting. The Gift. It is really one of my favorite dark, it's not horror, I would say dark drama and thriller. You need to watch The Gift, okay? But she's in The Gift, so she likes weird films because The Gift is super demented, okay? Then we go up here. Let's go to a few more. Let's roll down. The next time I saw her that I really paid attention was, I mean, she's been some other things for sure, but for me, it was The Night House. If you have not watched The Night House is an exceptional film. One of my favorite films, not just horror films, but favorite films of last year. Searchlight gave it a really small theatrical release, didn't do that well. It was in the fall. You know, horror is always a mixed bag. You never know if you're going to get a real film that pops or doesn't. Night House deserved a lot better, but I give Searchlight credit for at least putting it out there. It's a great film. If you have not seen The Night House, she is fantastic in The Night House. In fact, I liked her as a best actress play in that film. I don't care if it is. And then we roll back up here, Godzilla versus Kong. Hello. And then Resurrection, the new one. But here's the issue. If you look at Rebecca Hall, I think we know why. And we'll get to comments on this. Here's what's happening with her. Look at the films I just mentioned to you. The majority of them are very small, very horror leaning. Resurrection is, Night House is, and The Gift is horror leaning. You could definitely say it's horror by the end of the film. But she likes to pick weird projects, which makes me like her even more. But is when I say she deserves better, I mean, she deserves better from an award standpoint. At some point, someone's going to have to saddle her with an Academy Award nomination. I don't care what the film is. I don't care if it's a Resurrection. She's so good in the film. The problem is, I will admit, Resurrection is not a great film, but it certainly is a good film, but it'll never appeal to an awards voter. She needs to get into something that is very visible, like something like Amsterdam. Okay, she needs to be in something like that, even though I don't think it's going to be that big of a film, but she needs to be in a film like that, right? An awards film from David O. Russell, who we can say whatever we want about him, but he still is an awards director, okay? Has a pedigree. Get in something like that. And I don't know if that's up to her agent, if it's Hollywood. I'm just telling you that if I was casting a movie and I had a chance to get Rebecca Hall in my movie, I am putting her in. I don't care what happens, okay? She is in 120%. All right, let me see if they have any things on there. Okay, nothing on Rebecca Hall. Will come back, although I do see one here. I see one. I see something about The Gift, which makes me happy when I see The Gift is good. The Gift rocks. It was here. Trust me. There it is. The Gift was good. Okay, JT, thank you. 100%. The Gift is awesome. Watch The Gift. That's your homework for tonight. Okay, let's go to comment number 3. Actually, let's make it topic number 4, not comment 3. TIFF is stacked. Okay, if you guys don't know what TIFF is the Toronto International Film Festival. Okay, it happens every fall, September, and this is where we start to get the major awards films that are going to start piling into theaters in October, November, December. Some of them in September, and also we have Venice overseas, and we have Telluride. Those are the 3 big ones. Telluride, Venice, and Toronto. But Toronto is important because Toronto gives out the people's vote, and the people, whoever wins that, ultimately that film does very well at the Academy. So these studios want to get films into TIFF. Let's look at the lineup, and let's talk just a little bit about the films that I'm seeing in the ones I have personally rated very high on Awards Ace as far as films that are expected to be major contenders when it comes to awards and ultimately Oscars 2023. Okay, here it is from Variety. Here's the article. You see Brendan Fraser back in The Whale. That is going to be A24's big awards film this year. I think that no question about it. Let's go through some of the other films that we see here. Let me roll down, and I'll tell you what you're looking at here. Okay, so we've got here's a film that's interesting here, The Greatest Beer Run Ever. And you're saying, well, that's a stupid title. And I would agree. When I first heard it, I go, what the hell is that? Look who directed it. Peter Farrelly, Green Book, Best Picture winner. Because of that, you have to pay attention to The Greatest Beer Run Ever. Just because of the fact that the director has a Best Picture win. Whether you agree or not with Green Book, you have to look at The Greatest Beer Run Ever. Okay, roll down. A Jazzman Blues. This is another film. This is Tyler Perry. This is a Netflix film. Big hopes for that one. That's another one to keep an eye on. Let's roll down. Get another big one. The Sun. Clearly The Sun. The Sun is going to be Sony Pictures Classic. It is the sequel or prequel. It's to the Father. Okay. The Sun, Hugh Jackman. That is going to be a big film, and never discount Sony Pictures Classic. The Woman King. That is going to be a Sony release, and that is Viola Davis. That comes out in September. I would say this about The Woman King. The Woman King is probably something that is not going to be a major contender based on that release date. It's coming out in September. We talk about that all the time. All right, a few more. Banshees of Inisherin. That is another film that is expected to be big. That's a Searchlight movie. Why am I spotlighting it? Because Searchlight always is in the mix for awards. If they put a film out, Bros, Universal, That's not going to be an awards film. Not that I think. A Causeway, that is A24. That is Jennifer Lawrence, and that is a big film for them. Chevalier, which has Kelvin Harrison Jr., which I love as an actor. There's a ton of really good things coming. Empire of Light, Sam Mendes. Okay, Sam Mendes, that's all I got to say, right? At that point, you're like, okay. So TIFF is stacked. If you want to talk about that, let's do it. I already mentioned tonight's kit. It is Everton. And we get into open discussion time tonight. Anything that you want to talk about, anything from before, I will go back. We'll do DC League of Super Pets, whatever you want to do. I mean, the reality is, if you really want to talk about DC League of Super Pets, okay. If you want to, Super Pets was okay. I thought you were going to see this in Dolby. Also, Lego Movie is hilarious, 100%. I went to the 6 to see it tonight because I wanted to sit in a recliner so I could literally lay essentially flat and almost doze off watching DC League of Super Pets. That's why I went against Dolby. Plus, come on, it's a movie that's like, why are we even here and watching this? It doesn't matter if I watch it at the 6, which is an underground bunker theater, but they do have recliners, and it's all the same when it comes to the A-list. So I'm like, let's do it. Okay, JT, here's your DC League of Super Pets. Was a lot of fun, so good. Crazy, one of the best animated film this year. 2 post-credit scenes were great. I would agree that 2 post-credit scenes are very good. The last one's funny, especially because it ties into something that's coming from DC. I'll only say that. I don't want to ruin the movie for you. It's fun. It's fine. I just can't recommend this film for anybody who doesn't have a young kid. It just is too, the humor is fart jokes and stuff like that just isn't that smart. Lego Movie was playing on another level. Okay, but that's Lord and Miller. So that's a whole nother, dude, those are geniuses. So this is fine. It's not a bad film, but it's also not something I'd say run out to see DC League of Super Pets. So no way. Honestly, no film saved theatrical. It was never going to go away. I agree, but remember, hey, admit this to me, Gone Girl. How many people were out there saying it's going away? Theatrical is going to die and nobody's going to go to movies anymore. There were tons of those tweets, and it took every ounce of my being not to retweet every one of them and say, you're going to be wrong. And they know they're wrong because they deleted them. But ultimately, don't do that. Don't be someone like that. It's like don't jump on a bandwagon if you think, especially like something like that, a fear-based bandwagon. Be better than that. Be better than the fear-based bandwagon. There's the quote from tonight's MMT. Did I see the new trailer for Blonde? No, I did not, because I don't want to see it, JT, because I'm going to see the film and I want to be untainted. I love Andrew Dominic. You know how I feel about Killing Them Softly, Jesse James. This is a director I love, and I want to see the film. The length gives me great pause for sure. I mean, a 3-hour film is going to be challenging, to say the least. Todd, good evening to you. I could talk about DC League of Super Pets all night. Good. We just talked about TIFF. I know you're excited about that. It's a really strong list. I'm not going to Toronto. I'm not going to Telluride. I'm not going to Venice. Let me tell you why. Yes, could I get in? 100%. But here's the deal. I personally like watching the films as they roll out, and I don't like to watch multiple films in one day. I'm not a big fan of 2 is my max. I don't want to watch. I don't think I've ever even tried to watch 3 unless I was a kid. But now I don't want to watch 2. Today I watched Resurrection and DC League of Super Pets. Resurrection is challenging. It's going to make you think, and that's a good thing. But then you go into DC League of Super Pets, which, thank God, is turn your brain off. That worked. But if you had Resurrection followed by a real heady film, let's say something that a thought provoker, something from Toronto like The Whale, that's going to be a challenge. I think it's a disservice to the films and the filmmakers and everyone involved when you see multiple films in one day, because no matter what you say, and you can tell me, oh, I can do it. You're going to, fatigue will hit you. Film fatigue will hit, and then you're going to not see the view of the film the way that you would if you watched it, one a night. Like next week, I have 2 on Monday, 1 Tuesday, 1 Wednesday, 1 Saturday, and I might see something Thursday. That's 2 on one night, but then everything else is spaced out. I need a little bit of a break. I know some people say they can power through it. I love going to 4 or 5. My buddy Scott Menzel, doing a new show at the Multiplex, he claims he can watch 4 movies in a day, but even he will admit to you that 4th movie, if it's not like incredibly great, he's going to be hard on it or zone out a little bit, and that's a disservice to the filmmaker. That's why I don't want to go to a film festival. I want to watch them as they space out. And the reality is, here in Los Angeles, whatever debuts in Toronto, in Telluride, in Venice, we'll get to see within weeks. Like Don't Worry Darling debuts, I believe, Venice. I'll bet you Warner Brothers starts screening that right after, like literally the day after they'll have screening. So it's kind of like, and ultimately, what's the real advantage of seeing a movie first? There is that, oh, I'm first and I've got a tweet out and it's got 1,000 likes. But what have I told you guys about tweets? Tweets don't pay the bills. Tweets don't do anything other than generate likes for Twitter and impressions and all that, right? I've shown you guys impressions. Like, let's just pull something out. You guys love let's show you what a tweet looks like. Let's find a tweet for me today and see what the impressions were. Okay? These are the things that you can't see. Okay? Let me pull it up. And I know you guys like to look underneath the curtain, so let's do it. Why not? Okay, let's pull up the Twitter account. Here we go. Where is it? All right, give me a second. Here it comes. Okay, so if you guys know, on your tweets, you can actually hit a button that says get the diagnostics for it, okay? So we talked about this right here. Films that save theatrical, right? So this is the tweet I sent earlier today. Scott Mendelson, I said, come on, do this. Come on. I begged him to come into the ring, and he did. So here it is. So right now it's got 86 likes, 5 quote tweets, and 12 retweets. Okay, whatever. Who cares? Like I said, none of this pays the bills. Look at these numbers here. Aren't they cool? None of them pay the bills. Let's hit view tweet analytics. This is what you don't get anywhere. Is anybody else doing this? No, because they're afraid. I don't care. Who cares? What's the tweet analytics? Let's see. 9,432 impressions. Okay. 445 engagements, 248 detail expands. You know what's the best part about this? Okay, I haven't rolled down yet. My favorite is when you have a tweet. This is, by the way, like 10,000 impressions, like whatever. But I have one that's like 1 million. Oh, my tweet about, I should dig it up. We'll do it one night. My tweet about, what the hell? Oh, licorice pizza. That thing went insane. Like that had 1 million impressions. In fact, it probably has more now. But again, you don't get paid for that. This is my favorite though. Wait, let's roll down. This is my favorite on this. New followers, 0. 0 new followers. I love that. You have, and people say that all the time. They have like a tweet that goes crazy viral, and you hit it, and it's like, we didn't get any followers out of it. So the point is if you go to TIFF, I know that was a way. I like to do that. We start here and we go to like point Z fast. Is that you don't get paid for tweets. So if you go to have the first reaction, like a reaction tweet for, let's say, The Whale, or for whatever the hell the film is, let's say, Don't Worry Darling. Let's say you get 1,000 likes, 2,000 likes, 5,000 likes, 10,000 likes, 20,000 likes, 100,000 likes. You don't get paid for that. So ultimately, it's like, why am I doing this? Now, if you have a review that you're posting and you're going to generate a lot of hits out of it, that's different if it's paying the bills. But if you're just going for tweets and to be the first to see it, it's kind of like, But so I don't mind. But ultimately, that's not why. That's not why. It's that I think that I like to watch films one a day. 2 max, 1 a day. When you go to a festival, you're going to watch 3, you're going to watch 4, you're going to be really wanting to hit as many as possible. So I'd say on average, Scott says about 3, 4, 5 a day. That's a lot of films. You're going, sun up to sundown, and then eventually, like I said, fatigue wears in and you start to view films differently. And that's not a good place to be in, because you try to be as centered and as objective as possible with every single review that you walk into. At least you guys know I do. Is the ET re-release worldwide? I don't know. I know that it's here on August, 11th, in like a week and a half. It's going to be, or 2 weeks. ET is going to be in IMAX. So they're finding a way when these weekends are barren like they are, to put things like ET in there, get some people to show up. But I mean, it's still not going to be to form like a Marvel movie. But remember, they did The Godfather in Dolby. That was really smart by AMC. I would do more of that, not the Fathom event stuff. Literally the theaters, AMC, Regal, put a film in there like E.T., Close Encounters, any Spielberg film, right? And put it in there. Star Wars at this point. Why not? Put it in IMAX, and you're at least going to get some people versus these small films that no one's really excited about. I mean, we talked about Resurrection during this hour. I mean, Resurrection's not going to be a big hit, right? It's an IFC film. It's going to open in the small art house theaters. It's not even at AMC or Regal, to my knowledge. So these are the films that AMC is going to have to work with coming up here in September, outside of Barbarian, which I think is going to be a surprise hit. But even that's not going to be a $50 million opener. So they're in trouble. So I think that E.T. is a brilliant play. I hope it is worldwide. I don't know the answer to that. I'll look into it. I can send an email to Universal. That'll do for you. Moraine, if you can't find it anywhere, I will fire an email to Universal and I'll have an answer for you. Ask me on Sunday and I'll get an answer for you. That'll do. If If you guys ever want to know that stuff, I've got pretty good contacts. Okay, superhero movies. Saw Crawdad, symbolic and tragic ending. Love the multiple tones, tragedy, death, sex, nature, growth. Sometimes you got to do solid sit down cinema. Thanks for recommending. Absolutely. It's one of those films that surprised me. I had no expectations for where the Crawdad sing, but it's very ambitious from a screenplay perspective. And I understand it's a book, so the book was ambitious, and the screenplay does a very nice job of adapting, I would assume, because the movie's solid. So I assume the book is even better. It usually is. But this is a good film. Where the Crawdad Sings is surprisingly solid. And that's why, if you noticed last weekend, it had a good hold. Because people are coming out and they're saying, hey, it's pretty good, check it out. And we're doing that here. And that's why you went to go see it, because I said, hey, it's pretty decent. And I'd recommend Resurrection as well. But Resurrection is more along the lines of Men and Crimes of the Future, but much more watchable. There's something that happens in Resurrection that is going to be like turn a lot of people off. But I still think that Resurrection is more accessible overall from a storytelling standpoint than Men. And certainly more than the morose Crimes of the Future. Those two films, you know how I feel about those. Let's see here. I got a couple of these before we did the theatrical. Hey, Nick, good evening to you. Wouldn't you say Maverick is a lock for Best Picture at this point? Why have 10 slots if you're not going to reward the 10 best films of the year? Wakanda Forever will absolutely be part of that. Let's start with Wakanda Forever. Black Panther 2, we know Black Panther was a big success for awards. Why would it not be this time, right? So because of that, that's a spot for sure. And then you look at Maverick with the success it's had, box office wise, quality wise, it really has everything. I just did a podcast with Mike, and Oscar. It'll probably be out tomorrow. We talk about Maverick in depth. Listen to that. But I lay out the case that there's no way to ignore the film. You're looking at a film that is exceptional in virtually every single aspect that it offers, right? Every single detail of that film, from the editing, cinematography, score, Zimmer score, certainly Tom Cruise, screenplay, picture, director, Kaczynski directing. All these things are all the elements of Top Gun Maverick are award worthy. It's not like really even crazy to say that, even if the film is not a quote unquote awards film, it doesn't matter. We need to get out of that. You guys know how I feel about that. An awards film could be a horror film. How many times have I told you guys about Gretel and Hansel? Gretel and Hansel, from a cinematography and score perspective and production design perspective, those three elements of Gretel and Hansel are award worthy. Is the film? No, but are those elements? That's what we have to do. We have to extract elements. But right now, Maverick's like all over the place. All right, Jeff, I promise I come back to Fire Love. I haven't even sent a reaction tweet to it. I really like Fire Love. It's a documentary about a pair of lovers who were volcanologists. Did I say that right? On the first try, they got volcanologists. They studied volcanoes all over the world. It's found footage, and it's emotional. And you, even though you know what the ending is going into it, I think that the pictures are stunning. It's one of those films that will look really good on a big screen. I saw it at Burbank at theater, I think it's number like 6 or 5, pretty big. I got to give them credit. Some of those back theaters at Burbank 16 are solid. They're large. They're not IMAX, they're not Dolby, but they're big. So Fire Love is a film that is actually putting up decent numbers for a documentary. And Neon has proven over and over that they can get a documentary into the best documentary race. They do it every year. They have 1, 2. I mean, they're always there. So I think Fire Love is absolutely going to be a serious contender for best documentary at Oscars 2023. But it's a very beautiful film, and it's a very relaxing film. If you want to go chill and almost meditate and lose yourself into a trance, then Fire Love is a great film for that. In fact, I almost want to see it again for that very aspect. Simone, I got called a fool and super spreader for going to Arizona to watch Tenet. I hate good. Yeah, exactly. Like, you went to Tenet, like you were vilified for that. Surprisingly, I wasn't vilified for going to Vegas with Chris Gore to watch Tenet. I'm surprised, because really at that point they could have. But at this point, listen, you guys know me well enough. I'm not gonna. I don't bow to that. I'm not gonna do it. Why? Why would I bow? If someone comes after me, I'm gonna obviously go after them, because whatever. I mean, don't stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself, and don't bow. Don't bow down to people. You don't owe anyone an apology, honestly, unless you really did something bad. But you don't owe people apologies. You don't owe someone you don't know an apology. unless it's something you did that was legitimately apologize worthy. But you saying something that offended somebody that was just minor, come on, they need to get over it. Okay, my generation, we don't play those games. You hurt me. I need my safe space. Okay, whatever. I can't even imagine living like that. Like, I need to retreat to my safe space. Okay, all right, you do that. The rest of us are going to keep going. Uh, these are little nuggets you get here on MMT. Like, halfway through, we got about less than 15-minute warning. 15-minute warning that I just start to just riff on life ultimately, because film is an entry point for discussions on bigger topics, like we talked about with No Way Home. The importance of that film as a society saver. Yes, that's dramatic. I will admit that. But I mean, think about it. No Way Home performs in the middle of the Omicron fear campaign and performs at a level where you couldn't ignore it. Therefore, you couldn't sell Everyone Was Living in Fear when you had a movie that was raking in 1.8 billion worldwide. It was impossible to do that. That's the importance of No Way Home. Yes to theatrical, but also yes to returning to normal life. So it's bigger in that aspect, right? All right, there we go. That's good. That's the one I want to send out tomorrow. There's the splice for tomorrow. The Erick's wisdom. Inform Media Live. Yes. Let's see. I think I saw you in here. Peace and respect. Hey, to you too. Thanks for watching. Hey guys, bang the like button for me if you could before we have 15 minutes here. Bang it for me. Hit that and know this, that we're back here on Sunday. We still have 15 minutes, but back here on Sunday, and then Monday, Bullet Train live reaction at roughly 9:00 my time. Might be a little bit later because I'm going to be on the other side of town, so it might be a 9:30 Pacific time start for Monday, but we'll talk about that Sunday. Bullet Train, the last big movie of the year. I mean, well, the last summer, not the year. Oh God, that would be a real problem if that was the last of the year. Theaters are done. Then you could say theaters are dead. The next viewings of DC Super Pets might do 4DX, and Bullet Train have to do Dolby for this experience. After that, it's Nope and Dragon Ball Superhero, and then a drought for the cinema. It's 100%. Let's pull it real quick, since we're doing the death of theaters once Bullet Train's gone. Let's pull up the Box Office Mojo release schedule and see what we get. Let's just gun through that here, because that's one thing that I think is I'm curious. I want to look. I mean, I told you the next big film is Black Adam. I already know that. Okay, so here we go. Let's pull it up. Come on, work for me. Okay, I promise you it's coming. All right, here it is. Okay, this is not what I wanted. I wanted Box Office release schedule. StreamYard, make your thing easier to use. Okay, hang with me, guys. Erick sorts out technology portion of the MMT. Okay, here it is. Box Office release schedule. Let's hit it. Okay, boom. Okay, so here's what we have going out right now. You've got the extended Everything Everywhere All at Once. Let's go to August. Okay, let's go to August. So August is here. Easter Sunday. That is a film I'm going to see on Tuesday. It comes out next week. The comedian is Joy. I've seen him. I don't know much about him. I don't have big expectations for the film. I mean, maybe it opens at like 10 to 15 million. Let's just call it that. And that'd be a good opening for a comedy like that. And then you look at the rest. Bullet Train's the next one. Bodies. Very interesting with A24. Getting a lot of hype right now. But remember about A24. A24 films are huge on film Twitter, and they don't always translate to the real world. And when you look at Bodies, you're seeing it trend with all these hits, like millions of like people tweeting about it, or at least tens of thousands, and you're like, what the hell's going on? Because film Twitter is the bubble, and they love A24 films, and Bodies speaks to that generation, right? Gen Z, and that's why that film, I think, is going to look like it's going to do more than it actually will. That said, maybe it ends up being a top 10 million plus. I don't know. Let's wait till we get closer. We're getting close. Okay, hold on. Let's go further down. Okay, so hold on. Let's put it back out. Yep, there it is. Erick deals with technology. Mac and Rita, that's a small film that has Diane Keaton. That's not Emily the Criminal. I'm hearing very good things about, but that's another tiny film. Roadside Attractions. Not hearing a lot about that. Aubrey Plaza is apparently great. I'm going to see this one. The next G Kids movie I'm seeing on next Saturday. Is it Inuo? I'm all of a sudden into anime. I mean, after I saw Belle, I'm not even kidding you guys. When I saw Belle, all of a sudden I'm like, I need to watch like every anime film in the world. And everyone was like, well, I haven't watched every anime film. And now that I watch Belle and then Pompo the Cinephile, and now this next one, Inuo, I'm going to see that. Now I'm in. I'm all in on that. And I think it's probably a good place to be because a lot of you seem to be into it as well. So I understand why you are. Okay, let's keep going. Fall. Okay, so here's Fall. Fall is the Lionsgate film. That is a very small. They're hoping to get something to pop. You know what happens in August? August has films that the studios throw in there that they say, hey, maybe we can get something going with something like Fall. Barbarian was there. They moved to September. I think they moved Barbarian, though, not because they didn't like it, because they liked it. They moved Barbarian because they wanted to have it all by itself in September. Right now, it's sitting on like September. We'll see in a minute. It's all by itself, and that will help. If you are all alone on a weekend, like Nope was last weekend, you better clean up. Beast, I mean, Idris Elba, I don't think that's going to be a big film. And then you go down Samaritan, that's Stallone, not a big film. So none of this stuff, like look at August. 3,000 Years of Longing I've seen, and we're not going to talk about it yet. That's not going to be big. Let's roll down to, now we're into September. And September looks pretty. Let's go through September and we'll stop because we know October is where we're going to start getting some things again. Here's September. Let's pick through September. Burial IFC. Let's go here. Let's see. There's Barbarian. Okay, so look here. So Barbarian is going to be on September 9th, and it's all by itself because do you see this Untitled New Line horror film? That was Salem's Lot. They moved it, so that's out of there. So they need to update. So right now, Barbarian is all by itself as the lone wide release. Remember this. I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to say this is the segment where I call Barbarian is going to be a surprise hit. It's going to happen. I'm telling you now, a month and a week or so away, that this is a film that is going to be something that everyone is talking about. That is all I'm hearing from the sources that I know very well that have seen the film Barbarian. They are very high on Barbarian. So when this film pops in September, because it's all by itself, remember, you heard it first here on MMT. Okay, I'll cut that out. Splice that. We'll splice that and save that. That way I can have record. And you all go, you didn't say that. Yeah, I did. All right, here we go. We're into September, and look, this is See How They Run. That's not going to be a big hit. Pearl, you know I'm excited about Pearl. I mean, good Lord. Pearl, I can't wait. It's debuting at Venice, which is a ballsy move. Pearl is the prequel to X, one of my favorite films of the year. I can't believe we get 2 Ty West films in 1 year. You know how much I love Ty West's X direction. So I'm very excited for Pearl. But again, this is not a big, huge film. The Woman King will do okay, but again, not a huge thing. Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Let me say this. Let me stop because I love Jeepers Creepers. Let's just stop for a moment about Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers, the original, is outstanding. I love that film. As a creature feature, it is one of the best low-budget creature features. Now, the director, that's another story. Is it DeSalva? Whatever the director, piece of garbage. That's okay. But I'm just talking about the film Jeepers Creepers, not the director, is very good. Part 2 was okay. It was, and then 3 was one of the, honestly, I don't even know if that's a film. I went to see it at Fathom Events because I love the first 2, and I thought it was weird they were doing it only on Fathom Events. Then I watched it and I knew why. It was probably a 1 out of 10 for me. I don't ever give 1s on films. Jeepers Creepers 3 was horrendous. So Reborn is sitting here as only going to be on the what's it called? Fathom Events. It makes no sense to me. It feels like that's a film that you might as well just release. So that's very weird. They're doing a Fathom release. That must mean it's bad. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen Jeepers Creepers 3, it's horrible. 5-minute warning, by the way. 5 minute. Okay, and then we're it. I mean, listen. So getting back to the comments, let's do that. That we have nothing coming up. I mean, it's gonna be really, really tough going forward. Chris Gore, good evening to you. Is Super Pets for little kids? This is where Chris Gore's coming after me for making the choice to watch Super Pets versus BJ Novak's Vengeance. Okay, let me explain myself. I wanted to see Super Pets because I was in the mood for something that was super easy to digest and dumb as hell and frivolous. Then I'm going to see Vengeance tomorrow. Scott Manzel and I are going to go see Vengeance together. Okay. We'll probably hold hands in the middle of Vengeance. And we're going to do a segment on At the Multiplex about that. There's no rush to see Vengeance. Let's be honest. We'll talk about it Sunday. I'm sure it's good, but it's not a needle moving film. And when we talk about those, we're talking about the Bullet Train. We're talking about, name a film, Maverick, any Marvel film, the people that really everyone wants to talk about. Vengeance is not that. That said, I will watch Vengeance tomorrow. I just can't talk about it tonight. So stop giving me crap for going to see DC League of Super Pets. It's fine. Simone, it's fine for little kids. It is not for adults. I would 100% agree with that. I'll be focusing on films at TIFF that won't be able to see in theaters in September. Good. You're going? Are you going, Simone? Good for you. I love that you can do that. I just can't. I can't do 3 films in a row. It's just too much for me. Some of the films were premiered at Venice, like The Whale and Pearl. Yeah, some of those films are going to be at Venice, and they're going to there. I know that Empire of Light, which is Sam Mendes, that is definitely a Toronto-only film, and there's others. But there's a whole bunch. Go to awardsace.com, and you will see all the films. In fact, let me pull it up. We've got a few minutes here. Let me pull up awardsace.com, and I'm going to show you what I did. I just updated a couple things today for you guys to go check it out. And if you want to be Oscar savvy, now you can be. And I think that's the point of Awards Ace, was to get you to kind of be familiar with these films as we roll into award season. Really, it's all year. Okay, so here we go. We're on Awards Ace, my site. So right now, Best Picture, bang, click on it. We got Adam Driver from White Noise. Go down. This is a list of every film that should be and likely will be at least in contention for Best Picture. You go down. Now, one thing I added here that I think is important, I added studios for every single film. Okay, so you see Batman, Warner Brothers, obviously, Blonde, Netflix, Causeway, A24. Actually, Causeway is it Apple or A24? I think Causeway is A24/Apple. Let me check on that. And then you go down, Elvis, Warner Brothers. Now, why is that important? Why do you see the studio? Because one, it helps me organize the films and remember this. But studios are vital in getting nominations. If your studio has awards cachet, the chances of your film getting an award are much higher, certainly Oscar-wise, like Searchlight, Universal, A24, Focus. These are all big films. There's nothing small. MGM's coming up. They're trying. They had some things last year. As you guys know, they're back. But, they're a little under, but they're spending the money. Okay, this is what I also want to mention. Go to Awards Ace. This is the best cinematography of the year. I loaded up all the films I expect to be there, in addition to the cinematographer, like the Batman, Greg Fraser, right? We've got everybody here. Matthew Libatique. He's unreal, and he did Don't Worry, Darling, and also, let's see, what's the other one? He did 2 films. There it is, The Whale. He did The Whale. So he's got those 2 this year, and then I looked in, I've got Ari Wegner from The Wonder. She was just up for Power of the Dog. So go to awardsace.com. You're going to get all that information, including cinematography. Just added that. All right, we have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Let's get to the latest comments, and then I'll see you back here on Sunday. And don't forget, Sunday, we'll talk about box office and Nope. What's going to happen with Nope second weekend? I think it drops 55% or more. You really don't want to see it at 60 or higher, because there's nothing new this weekend other than DC League of Super Pets, a film that I think is going to be about 30, maybe 35. I don't think it gets above that. I could see it in the 20s. DC League of Super Pets really doesn't have a lot of appeal, again, for older people. Like, me in there was ridiculous. I'm sorry. I mean, literally, I did it for you. I really didn't want to be there. So Gore's kind of right about that. Why didn't I see Vengeance? I'm going to see Vengeance tomorrow. That's what happens when you have A-list. You go to see movies because you have free movies. So we'll talk Vengeance on Sunday night. So it'll all get in there. What is Cyborg's pet? Oh, don't make me reveal the film. Let's just say that all of the Justice League has pets by the end of the film, which is this is a giant indoctrination to the DCEU. Super League of Pets, or League of Super Pets, whatever the hell it's called, is absolutely DCEU indoctrination for toddlers. That's what this film is. You don't have any business in this film if you don't have some kid who's 8 or under. I wouldn't even say 9. They're going to look at you like, get me out of here. There was a kid in front of us that might have been like 3, and they seemed to enjoy the film with their parents. One of them was opening like a package of something. I kid you not. the opening of the package went on for like 10 minutes. I was like, what are you opening and why is it so loud? Thank God I'm watching DC League of Super Pets where I don't care. Yeah, go see it. Go see it. JT, you do that with your tweets, and then we're about look at the under the hood stuff. It's fun. We'll do another one of those. I'll find one of my craziest one, and then we'll do it. Bodie, good evening to you. I'll get you on before we bag out of here. I think Woman King and Bros could potentially break out in September 16th and 30th, respectively, both at TIFF. Positive buzz comes through. I mean, I would think my issue with the Woman King is very simply that it's a September film. Any September film does not show me that the studio has a ton of confidence in it. If you did, you'd push it till closer down the awards corridor / window that I like to see it more into November. Okay. So that's why I don't have a whole lot of faith in it. I do love Viola Davis. I think the trailer looks solid, but that's the only concern that I have. We'll go another couple minutes here. Chris Gore, Super Pets 2 is greenlit. Fantastic. Although I will not be seeing that. I sat through it tonight. I said I wasn't. I sucked it up for you guys, and it was okay. I survived. The original Jeepers Creepers is fucking incredible. Hell yeah, it is. The first half is literally perfect. Those first 45 minutes are perfect. I would agree 100%, where he's dumping the bodies down below the abandoned church and the whole, oh my God, you don't know what the thing is. And then they drive back out there. Jeepers Creepers, and I would 100% Gone Girl. The first 45 minutes of Jeepers. I feel like just talking about Jeepers Creepers for like 2 hours now, guys. It is a great film. It's Victor DeSalva, is it not? Give me a second. I know he is accused of, I believe, child rape. Okay. I'm not going to, literally like the worst thing you can ever imagine. Let's see. Hold on. It's I think it's Victor DeSalva. Why am I not seeing him? Hold on, give me a second. But anyhow, the director's a piece of trash. Okay, Victor Salva, not DeSalva. Victor Salva. Okay, so but he's not working anymore because he's convicted with child pornography, abusing the 12-year-old. It's horrible stuff. Okay, I don't want to get into it, but let's take him out of the picture. The man who made the picture, just get rid of it, and just know that the first 45 minutes of Jeepers Creepers is really one of the best horror entries of a film, and it deserves so much more respect. 2 is not excellent. 3 is horrendous, and now this Reborn, I'm very curious. I definitely want to see the film, but why are you putting it on Fathom Events? If I'm a studio and here's the first thing I do when I found out about we're gonna finish with Jeepers Creepers talk because I don't think we're ever gonna do this again. So let's just drill down on Jeepers Creepers for a minute. Here's what I'm doing if I'm a studio. If I find out they're making Jeepers Creepers Reborn and the production company's like, we're making this, I'm making a phone call to the production company, whoever the hell made the film. I don't think the first film was like UA. I don't think it's them. It's some small company. And I would say, I want to see the final product. When I see Jeepers Creepers Reborn, if we like it, we're going to buy the film from you. Because if I saw Jeepers Creepers Reborn and it's really solid, I would buy the film for $5 million. I don't know what, whatever the number is. Let's just call it 5, 6, 7. But if you think it's good, you can put it out there in October when it's Halloween. Yes, there's Halloween Kills before that. Put it out before that or after. Get some money. And it's good. I can't believe someone didn't come in and buy Jeepers Creepers Reborn and then use it for themselves. You see it happen at Sundance. You see it happen at Toronto. They show the films. The distributors line up and they put bids on the film. I would make a call about Jeepers Creepers Reborn. If it's Fathom Events only, that makes me think the film's not good. Okay? So that is a problem. But the original Jeepers Creepers is amazing. I would absolutely agree with that. Gone Girl, no question about it. That is going to do it tonight, everybody. I want to thank you all for being here. No question about it, as always. And we'll be back here on Sunday night. Let's hope Nope holds at -50, not -60, because that's going to be a good sign for a very solid film. I like Nope a lot, so I want to see it succeed. But opening weekend did not hit the mark at 44 plus change. It didn't. We had that discussion. Go back and watch it from Sunday night. We called it that night. That was not an opening that was a resounding yep, as Variety put it. Let's hope that on Sunday we get a good number, and whatever happens, I can promise you this. Midnight Movie Talk, we're not going to spin it. It's going to be the reality of the situation because we don't do that. We report facts. My God. Did I just turn into Fox News? Forget it. It's over. That's going to do it tonight. I'll see you guys Sunday. MMT is out.